Forbidden Truths, an overview of dark dreams. What caused Dark Day and the chaos that followed? Where did the Nightbane come from? Most people don't have a clue. Furthermore, most would not believe the truth even if someone told them. This disbelief is one of the enemy's most powerful weapons. By feeding unsuspecting humans logical, believable lies and pandering to their fears, they can keep them ignorant and therefore helpless. Even many Nightbane do not fully understand the situation until it's too late for them. What's going on? The rise of the Preserver Party and similar movements and organizations around the world was not an accident, but part of a complex plan for world domination. Most of the people involved are unknowing puppets of inhuman beings from another world. A number of occultists, rebels, and Nightbane have discovered where the conspirators come from and have some theories as to what they want. The first discovery was that the alien world where the invaders originate is a lot closer than anyone would imagine. The Earth and the world known as the Nightlands or Darklands are like two layers of the same onion, touching but separate and independent from each other. For centuries, magicians and Nightbane had made contact and crossed over from one world to the other, but always in small numbers and with great difficulty. Dark Day weakened the barriers between the worlds, making the invasion easier. The Nightlands. Bull sessions. All right, they call them conferences. At any seeker gathering can be entertaining, especially if you keep your mouth shut and listen like I was doing that night. The topic today was the Nightlands. Let's go over your ideas once more, shall we? Dr. Rigaud said in an even tone. Father Connolly? My gut feelings to the contrary. The Nightlands are not hell, or a part of it. Father Connolly's statement surprised all of us. After taking one look at the place, he had been convinced he was in the land of fire and brimstone. The fact that these doppelgangers that live there seem to be replicas of people living on Earth indicates that this is not a place of the afterlife. Even my Baptist colleagues agree. And it's not any kind of spirit realm, said Hiroshi, or our resident anthropologist. The cosmology is all wrong. The inhabitants assume a physical form when entering our world. They are not insubstantial ghosts, kami, loa, or any form of spirit. At first, I thought it was some sort of dream world, a creation of our own subconscious mind, added Professor England, shaking her head. The place is too solid and complex for that, although the relation between our collective psyche and the place seems to be... Gentlemen, Dr. Rigaud interrupted, and ladies, of course. So far, all of you seem to be able to tell us is what the Nightlands are not. Can anybody give us any ideas or theories as to what it is? I cleared my throat and got a dozen scientists, philosophers, and occultists staring at me. Oh well, I thought as I spoke, that's what they get for getting a smartass as their token Nightbane. I'd say, I said, that it is a nasty place to visit, and no way would I like to live there. They were pissed, but they had to agree. The Nightlands is a place of darkness and fear, much worse than Earth has become, although some fear that the goal of the invaders is to turn Earth into a place just like the Nightlands. It appears to be a cruel mockery of our world, with the same cities and places, even some of the same people, but all twisted and perverted. Monsters walk freely there, and humans are slaves and victims. At first glance, an accidental visitor to the Nightlands might think he is looking down at the normal world sometime in the late evening. Cities sprawl much like their earthly counterparts, but unlike normal cities at night, there are few lights. The sky is a solid sheet of blackness, just as Earth's was during dark day. This being the case, the land should be lost to pitch blackness, but somehow there is enough light to allow sight and to cast long shadows. A sort of dark twilight world. The humans and humanoids living there are pale and sickly looking. Many seem to be in a daze or lost to apathy. Horrible creatures randomly hunt them down and slay them, sometimes for food, more often for sheer pleasure. Although nobody seems to know how the Nightlands are so closely linked to Earth that most of the humanoid inhabitants of that dimension have a counterpart, an identical twin, living on Earth. Some occultists believe that the humans of the Nightlands took their shape from the dreams and thoughts of the real people in our world. They claim that the Nightlands are merely a reflection of our nightmares, which have somehow been brought to life. Regardless of what they are, the Nightlands and their inhabitants are real enough to cross over to Earth and kill and terrorize just as they do on their homeworlds. Note, more details about the Nightlands and their inhabitants can be found in the Life After Dark section of this book. The Night Lords. The rulers of the Nightlands are called the Baal, or the Night Lords. The Baal are sadistic, megalomaniacal beings with enormous power. Like the Nightbane, they have amorphous or true form, always a nightmarish alien shape, but they can create multiple incarnations called avatars, which operate independently and can assume any shape at will. These creatures have masterminded the conquest of Earth. Their ultimate goals are a mystery to humans and Nightbane alike. They seem to draw strength from the Nightlands, and as the Earthlings become more frightened, paranoid, and anarchistic, the Nightlands become stronger. It is possible that by making Earth more like their dark homeworld, they gain more power. It is also possible that they feed on the fear and emotions generated by humans, or perhaps they are tired of ruling only the Nightlands and wish to expand their control over this new world called the Earth. It is just as possible that each Night Lord has its own goals and agenda. Their major weakness is their fierce competition and paranoia. The Baal worked together to launch the invasion of Earth, but once it was completed, their cooperation ended, with each Night Lord carving his or her own kingdom on Earth. Backstabbing and conspiracies between the Baal are common enough to have come to the attention of the Nightbane and human resistance movements. They have found that sometimes the best way to destroy the Baal is to turn one against another. Note, more information about the Baal, Night Lords, can be found in the Life After Dark section. 3 of the most influential Night Lords in North America are described in the campaign section. The conquest of the world. Dark Day was no freak of nature, but the prelude to a secret invasion. Even before Dark Day, the Night Lords had secretly placed their agents on Earth. The Preserver Party was infiltrated and controlled by agents of the Baal almost a year before Dark Day. President Carson and most of his political appointees are not human beings at all. They are doppelgangers, Nightlands bred counterparts to men and women living on Earth. The real Carson was killed and replaced years ago in the months following Dark Day and Carson's election. More doppelgangers were brought across and into towns and cities throughout America and the rest of the world. Key people in the police, military, and government were murdered and replaced with look-alike doppelgangers, where no doppelganger matching the victims can be found. Night hounds, other Nightlands monsters, and even the avatars of the Night Lords took their place using magic and natural abilities to disguise themselves. In addition, many humans have been bribed, coerced, or intimidated into servitude. The Preserver-controlled government became more repressive and authoritarian than any previous U.S. administration in history. Claiming to be fighting crime, the National Security Bureau became incredibly intrusive and powerful. It has become a form of secret police not unlike the KGB of Communist Russia or the Gestapo of Nazi Germany. The feds are watching has become a fearful catchword in everyday life. The free press is also a thing of the past. Most news agencies are controlled, influenced, or manipulated to release only what the government and the Night Lords want. Some news reports have been suppressed in order to prevent riots and civil disorder, others squelched in the name of national security. Still others have been discredited with sudden and suspicious confessions, eyewitness reports, facts, and revelations that revealed the original report to be incorrect or false. In fact, many top reporters have had their careers ruined when they were proven to be unreliable, irresponsible, or downright liars. Many of the more outspoken reporters and journalists have been replaced with doppelgangers, discredited, or killed in sudden accidents. By the time of the Carson re-election, the U.S. was firmly in the grip of the Night Lords. The federal government was in the hands of King Moloch. See the Life After Dark section. Local control over the U.S. is divided among three Night Lords subservient to Moloch, but often at odds with each other. The goals of the Night Lords remain unknown. For the time being, they are content with securing their dominance over their new domain. Meanwhile, people keep disappearing or dying. This has led some occultists to speculate that many of these victims are being used as slaves or perhaps sacrificed to an even more horrible entity. Maybe the Night Lords serve some unknown power that demands such payment in pain and blood.